Hello everyone, and welcome to some late midweek power rankings for week 4. It's been pretty chaotic with the holidays and delays and weird stuff, but finally getting to it and should be on track soon, or now, hopefully. So yeah, let's get right into it, I guess. Number 11, I have Flair still. Flair this week actually beat PETA, and I feel that this bottom 3 is kind of on top of each other. I don't think Flair won this game so much as PETA threw it. PETA, I'll get to him later, but he's having some serious issues really identifying what he needs to do in games and executing. But I don't think this was a well-played game by any means by Flair. His glitch score, which ended up actually getting 6 kills and killing the entire team, he risked on like turn 3 to a Blastoise, which turned out not to have Ice Beam, but if it did, the game was over right then. So yeah, like just lots of not good plays by him this game, although not as many as in the previous weeks, where he had lots of really bad plays and then lost badly because of his really bad plays. But this week he wasn't punished for them and was able to come out with a win, but I don't think he played particularly well. So I'm keeping him at the lowest spot, but if he's actually able to string together more wins, then it's possible he'll move up. But yeah, as of now, he'll be staying in the last spot. But I do think these bottom 3 are kind of, even maybe bottom 4 for that matter, are kind of fighting each other and kind of close. So number 10, I have Kudo, who beat Robot Boy this week due to Zard being really powerful and Robot Boy not prepping for it at all, really. So, he didn't play a terrible game, but it wasn't good by any means. Similarly, he made some bad plays, like going crook on Rotom and getting wisped, going like Empoleon on Rotom when like it doesn't resist either stab and it's weak to the other. Like, just some really weird plays. I understand it seems decently Rotom weak, but like still, you have like a Zard. I don't know. In the end, I feel like he was getting outplayed most of the game, but then in the end, kind of just like killed everyone with Zard, which I don't think really was his doing so much as Cody allowing him to. But in the end, I do suppose he got the win. So I'm not moving him up just because I don't think he deserves to go any higher, but if he's able to keep putting together more wins similarly to Flair, then he can move up, and I do consider these bottom 4 to be pretty close. And at number 9, I have PETA, who has some serious issues going on. This picture is out of date, and unfortunately that's probably a problem for PETA. PETA's having a hard time. He tries to bring Excadrill every single week to win the game, but then doesn't see what like the walls and threats stopping it, or just isn't acknowledging them. I don't know. Like first week it was Skarmory. Skarmory just walled Excadrill the entire game. Garchomp didn't even come, which was a fantastic breaker to break down the Skarmory. And then Skarmory ended up just walling out his whole team, including his drill, which is his win con week. And then next week it was Celesteela, and he did bring Garchomp that time, but didn't bring Fire Fang on it, and because of that, Celesteela easily walled the Garchomp, and then thereafter the drill, and he couldn't get anything done offensively because his team is weak as shit besides those two. Then he dropped the Garchomp and picked up Sharpedo, which is not nearly the caliber of breaker as Garchomp is, especially when you have Sand support and Web support. And then he didn't do anything with the Garchomp, or didn't even do anything with the Sharpedo. He switched it in on a Gliscor Earthquake, and it died in one. I actually didn't look at the investment, so I don't know how that works. But or like if there was a max attack Gliscor or something. But I feel like at that point PETA knew there was probably a possibility because he had seen the Gliscor attack many times, because it did kind of kill his entire team. So yeah, Pete really needs to see how he can support his drill and really break down the threat stopping it, because like 3 times consecutively the defensive threat that stopped drill has just walled his entire team because he didn't bring any way to deal with it. That's why I felt that Garchomp was such a good partner with it, and why I criticized him for dropping it last week, because now like that was one mon that could really put the pressure on things that stop drill, and now he doesn't have that, so that's problematic for him. So I'm not sure how he's going to get over this. Maybe exchange something on his team for a stronger breaker. I don't know, maybe Latios. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what he has to do here. But I feel like something on his team needs to be exchanged for some more power, because he's definitely lacking in that department, and it's been showing because he's just been consistently being walled out by his opponents. So yeah. On to number 8, I have Robot Boy in the New York Granville's, who lost to Kuda this week, who really outplayed Kuda the entire time, but Kuda really wasn't playing well, so it wasn't very hard. And then just massively underprepped for Zard. When you're facing a threat as big as Zard, you really need to bring Scarfers, especially when you have 2 extremely valuable Scarfers that can outrun a +1 Zard in Garchomp and Nihilego. At least one of them should have been a Scarfer this match. It's kind of inexcusable. I also think he really undervalued his Nihilego this match, because it had a really good matchup and really put Kudo in a bad spot every time it came in, and he kind of just like sacrificed it for rocks. I think he really could have done well with it, especially if he had actually just scarfed it in the first place. But alas, he did not. Yeah, he made some serious misplays, but he really just gave himself no outs in prep just by not bringing any way to deal with Zard. He could have, I think, things like a Scarfer, like I said before, Haban on a Garchomp. I don't know, beyond that, probably just Haban, Garchomp, or a Scarfer. But like, those are countermeasures you should definitely have against a threat as big as Zard. And they just weren't there, and he lost because of them. I think he could have kept the game in his favor if he went hard Zard or hard Chomp on the Zard, because Veil was still up. So I think Chomp could have lived a +1 Dragon Claw under Veil. I haven't calced that, so if it can't, then please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he could have savored the game by doing that. Making that play, but still, in the end, that lack of prep for Zard did him in, and he was unable to overcome it. So yeah, I guess that's it. Moving on to number 7, I have Jolty, who I've been having faith in, and now I'm really starting to not. I might even consider Jolty in these bottom guys. I have him ahead of him just because all of his losses are to top coaches besides Robot Boy, and that was a hacks match. So I feel like when Jolty starts to play the lower end coaches, he can at least string some wins together and prove that he's at least above these bottom ones, like I think he is. But I was really disappointed in his performance this week. I thought he would be able to pull this game out against DeWinchell, because he's like I usually say, I feel that he's really one of the only coaches who's willing to make aggressive plays to try and win games, and constantly put himself into a better position. And I feel like DeWinchell is a coach who kind of struggles with that, so I felt like Jolty would be able to come in, especially against DeWinchell's very stally team, and really take it to him. But Jolty just didn't. He didn't bring any real form of breaking. Like when a game, he pretty much brought his own stall and tried to beat DeWinchell's stall. And DeWinchell's stall had a Victini, and yours didn't. You didn't bring your Torn either for taunt support. Didn't bring anything with Sword Stance. It was just nothing of substance that could break down DeWinchell's team. I think things like Sword Stance Necrozma could have really put in work. Life Orb Torn. I don't know, maybe a Specs Sylveon. I don't know the matchup too well, but like he needed something that could really really break down DeWinchell's team. I understand he brought the Marowak, which was like okay, but the Marowak's not fast enough to get multiple kills, and it just was never going to happen. He even got like a bit overzealous and predicted DeWinchell to switch out his Milo on after a Thunder Punch. And DeWinchell thought he would be faster because he didn't anticipate Jolty to run speed, and then that got his Marowak pretty much killed for nothing. So yeah, he just did not bring the breakers he needed to. He had like Zebstrika on his team, and like you're running stall v stall. Zebstrika is never going to do anything. I would really only ever consider bringing Zebstrika like in a very offensive team. Jolty's only hope of winning this match was his Sylveon, and Sylveon was the first mount to die of the matches. He kind of carelessly let it die to a Dragalge. So yeah, he just did not bring the prep it required to take down DeWinchell's stall, and then sacked his only hope of winning, and kind of just like painfully suffocated thereafter. So I was pretty disappointed. I've been having faith in Jolty, but I do feel a bit let down. But I do think he should be able to bounce back once he starts getting onto some lower end coaches. I don't remember who he's playing this week, so there is that. So I don't know if it'll be this week he bounces back, but yeah, he has shown me that he is not to be ranked as highly as I've been keeping the faith in him to be. So number 6, we have PK, who got absolutely molested by Jeff this week. Decidueye came in and trapped the Tangrowth, and then set up to +6 and killed everyone. Jeff just put on a clinic on how to destroy PK's stall team with a Zygarde on it, because that's really what it is. Really showing Jolty how it's done actually from the previous ranking. How to bring strong breakers that really take advantage of your opponent's fat. Decidueye did just that and really destroyed PK. Quick fun fact, Jeff told me after that he originally had a special Decidueye and then switched to physical because he wanted Spirit Shackle, but forgot to change Giga Drain to Leaf Blades, so actually the entire game Audino walled the Decidueye, and PK didn't know it. It let the Decidueye get like 4 kills. But yeah, there was really nothing PK could have done except prep better. It is a big issue that you have nothing that revenges a Decidueye. Like at the very least a Dragonium, Zygarde, bring Crobat, something. You can't not be able to revenge a Decidueye. So yeah, the fact that like he didn't even have a Dragon move on Zygarde to revenge it was definitely problematic, especially because Decidueye was always going to be a really likely check for the Zygarde. But I don't think it would have made a difference because the damage is already done. Decidueye just ripped PK a new butthole. But PK does have some good wins against Tepig and PETA. So if he's definitely, at least in terms of records so far, holding this mid-ground pretty decently, losing to coaches only above him, but beating everyone below him. So he's in a very solid spot as of right now, and at number 6, well, actually, I guess he would be 7 because I don't rank myself, but definitely in playoff contention, especially if he can keep this record up. So yeah, he really got manhandled this week, but I don't expect everyone to play out the match as well as Jeff did. And I think he can definitely get some more wins, but I think he needs to change up his team and be a bit more offensive than bringing straight stall with 252 defensive sets every week, because that's how you get destroyed by creative sweepers that are meant to take advantage of that, like he was this week. So I think he should definitely try and at least bring some more offense and pressure, and yeah, it's a bit unacceptable that you can't revenge a Decidueye. So I guess that's it for PK. Number 5, I have Tepig. He played Reggie this week and got quote-unquote hacks, but I'll get there later when I talk about Reggie, because it turned, like, I looked at it myself and it was actually really dumb. So Tepig this week, I feel like he he definitely played the match really solid. He really outplayed Reggie, but I think Reggie had some better prep. That was quite a voice crack right there. Yeah, there was a few kind of weird plays on his part, like going hard into the what's its face, hard into the Neuvern on the Stoutland, unless it was intended to be a sack. But I think Neuvern definitely had some value with speed tier at that point. It ended up working out though, because it died the next turn. Like Reggie was making some weird plays and like iron tailing. I don't know what more. I didn't look too much into the prep, so I don't know. Or actually, I did look in, but it was like a really long time ago, so I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I think maybe if he brought a bit more speed to the matchup, he could have definitely had a chance to pull it out, especially towards the end. He was having some trouble kind of keeping up with Reggie, mainly the Kyrim. But I don't think Tepic played a bad game at all. It was a very close game with a very top coach, which is why I have him up pretty high, moving up 3 spots, especially because everyone having really underwhelming performances below him. So I'm expecting Tepic to really bounce back and start stringing together some wins here and making a playoff run. But yeah, not too much to criticize. Well played. I think probably just needed to prep a bit better. Probably should have looked a bit more into what I was going to say here, because I don't remember the matchup too well and what he could have done differently. But yeah. Number 4, we have DeWinchill, who beat down Jolty. I kind of already went over it, but DeWinchill just really did what he needed to do to win the matchup, and that was just outstall Jolty. He had a really nice drag algae set that put in a ton of work, so props to him for that. And past that, he really kind of just stalled out Jolty, and Jolty didn't bring the breakers it needed to break him down. I would have liked to see him utilize the Victini a bit better, because Jolty did not have Victini switch in, so if he was able to get Victini in reliably, he could have really put the hurt to Jolty. But in the end, he got it done anyways. So yeah, not much to say there. Just did what we needed to do to win a matchup where Jolty did not prep adequately to beat him. So yeah, that's it for DeWinchill. Number 3, moving on to Reggie. So I'm going to go over that endgame scenario I was talking about with the where I was talking about a second ago, Tepic. The critical hit, Reggie critted to beat Tepic. So the crit mattered in the sense that Reggie completely choked that game, because like I went to calc it later, because I was watching the game back right before this to see, just for the PRs to keep it fresh in my mind, and then I was like, wait a second, Reggie drain punched there. Did he think he was gonna die? Wait, was he actually gonna die? So I like turned it back and looked at his health. He was at 31, and then the Scald did 30. I'm like, oh, he would have lifted that. He could have just leaf bladed twice, and it would have actually been the same thing without a crit. And so I threw it in the calculator, and turns out 30 was actually a max roll from the Suicune. So Glade lived that Scald no matter what, so that Drain Punch play was completely unnecessary. And actually just threw the game completely, because 2 Leaf Blades guaranteed it so long as the Scald didn't burn. And if the Scald burned, then he lost anyways. So yeah, just Leaf Blading twice was the play. And he didn't need the crit. If that happened, he just needed to not get burnt. So if I don't consider Reggie like Tepic deserved to lose at that point, which is why I'm not considering this a hacks match. It was more just like Reggie completely threw the game away by making that absolute bonehead play of not leaf blading twice at the end, and then hacks bailed him out. So yeah, 2 leaf blades would have killed. He did not do that, but in the end it worked out for him. But yeah, Reggie has good wins against everyone except for Hazy, who's above him. This one was a bit sketch, but I think I would have liked to see Reggie make some more aggressive plays, especially with this Kyrim. I would have liked to see him predicting more like predicting the Diancie to switch out on it, because it was pretty obvious that he was a scarf at that point, and Tepic was never going to sack his Diancie. So I would have liked to see him play it a bit more aggressively. He kind of misplayed seriously with the weather, and I think his T-Tar in general was misplayed. I think he really underutilized the breaking power of Gallade combined with T-Tar, and the fact that Gallade could taunt Mew to make Tyranitar free on Wisps. So yeah, I think Reggie really could have won this game much more handedly, or much more handedly if he was able to apply the pressure more to Tepig and kind of keep control and force Tepig to play at his pace, and break through him with the Glade and the T-Tar. Something else that's important though is like Tepig did miss a Super Fang. I can't remember if he missed two, but a critical. I think he did miss two Super Fangs, so that was pretty critical. I think maybe that could be considered hacks. I don't think the crit was considered hacks. That was just Reggie throwing the game away and then getting bailed out. But the two Super Fang misses may have been very, very influential. They probably were. I can't say how the game would have played out had they not happened, but I think they definitely would have played out differently. But Reggie does have good wins against pretty much everyone below him, especially D Winchell being the only coach to beat him at this point. And he does have a loss to Hazy, but Hazy has been a formidable opponent this season. So I have him ranked at number 3. So number 2, I have Hazy, who forfeited to me this week. I was trying to get him to play, and he just was not having any of it, unfortunately. So yeah, not much to say here, but I can't bring myself to rank him below Reggie after beating him, and like beating him quite easily too at that. And with Reggie kind of blowing his game against Tepig and getting bailed out, so I couldn't bring myself to rank him below, even though it was a very weak move to forfeit this week, and really hurt his differential because now he's sitting at like +0. But in terms of power rankings, I still think he's at number 2. So yeah, not much to say beyond that. Moving on to number 1, we have Boston Buzzwoles Jeff, who's absolutely thriving on differential right now at +17 within 4 weeks. That's actually quite ridiculous. That's winning at an average of like 4.25, like an averaging of 4.250. That's pretty impressive. So he's been really smashing his opponents and really playing well this season. He absolutely obliterated PK this week. I kind of already went over it, but he put on a clinic of how to break down stall and beat it with creative sets. The Decidueye absolutely manhandled him, and there was really nothing PK could do after he had prepped. He had prepped inadequately. There was nothing he can do at that point. I think he definitely like I said before, needed at least something that could revenge Decidueye. It's unacceptable to have stall to the level where you have so little offensive pressure that a Decidueye goes unrevenged. But the set on its own though was still a really good bring and did put in a lot of work. So yeah, no reason to move Jeff down after that demanding performance. He's absolutely destroying everyone on differential. He's definitely looking like the scariest coach that I'm ranking at this point. So yeah, he's staying at number 1 until he loses, definitely, and maybe not even after that, because he's the only undefeated coach I have left ranking besides me. So yeah, that's the week 4 power rankings, and I'll see you next time.